Shine with Kendell Lenice. Shine with Kendell Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.
Welcome to Shine with Kendell Lenice. I am your host, transformational life coach, Kendell Lenice. I'm also an author, a content creator, a speaker, a healing coach, a certified meditation practitioner, and a lover of people. I want to see you win, and that's what this podcast is about. It's a life podcast. You'll get some live life coaching, you'll get some amazing guests, and most importantly, you'll heal and laugh. It's all about education, elevation, and entertainment. I don't know how you stumbled upon this podcast, but I'm so glad you did. If you haven't already, please subscribe and rate if you can. We are available on all podcast outlets. Also, follow me on social media at Kendell Lenice across the board. Now on to this week's show. Hey everybody, it is Kendell Lenice, the Remix Coach. How y'all doing? How is everything? How is everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Shine with Kendell Lenice. I'm not sure how you stumbled upon this podcast, but I'm so thankful and grateful and honored that you did. If you can subscribe and rate, leave a comment, please do so. Most importantly, spread the love. Get this message out to your friends and family. This is a life podcast. It's all about being better, wiser, growing, healing, and learning. That's what this podcast is about. It's a life podcast. All right, y'all. I hope you had a good week. We are approaching Thanksgiving and, everybody is thankful and grateful. I just encourage everybody to be that way throughout the year. Don't just wait towards the end of the year, the end of the calendar, to start preparing for the next year or being grateful and thankful and thinking about all the ways that you're blessed and all of that. That needs to be a continuous thing throughout the year. I see people are extra thankful and extra grateful, and preparation is on its high. Okay, I'm preparing for next year. Do that all year. Just work on being better and being more grateful and practicing gratitude. Do that throughout the year. That's what I want to see. All right. So this week we're talking about the freedom of being you. The freedom of being who you are. So many people are afraid to be themselves, or they don't even know how to be themselves. And we're going to talk about all of that. But as always, let's start with this week's life note, and then we're going to get right into the show. Also, this show is sponsored by Goalie Gummy. Try to get yourself some ashwagandha gummies. They help with your mood, your stress, anxiety. They level you down. If you know anything about ashwagandha, it is a safe, natural plant that helps you reduce those hyper-vigilant hormones that a lot of people have when it comes to stress, because so many people are stressed out these days, especially this time of the year. So they promote relaxation. Ashwagandha is classified, and it reduces levels of cortisol in the natural way. It's gluten-free, vegan, non-GMO, all of that good stuff. Use my code Kendell Lenice for a discount. Who doesn't love a discount? I just took 2 of mine, and they're delicious, y'all. It's berry flavor, so get yours at goalie.com. All right, let's start with this week's life note. All right, it's time for this week's life note. All right, a life note is a quote, a saying, something that you heard before or maybe not, to get you through this topic of the show. Next week, and probably the rest of your life. So you've heard this quote a million times, but I want to use it because it's perfect for this show. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. That is a quote by Oscar Wilde. I know you've heard the quote before, but you might not have known who said it first. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. That is by Oscar Wilde. So let's get right into the show about being yourself. There's so much freedom in being who you are. No code switching, no trying to act proper or different when other people are watching or looking. It could even have started with your parents. It could be at work. It could be with your group of friends where you feel out of place, or the third wheel, or the odd one out, or the awkward black girl. I'm thinking about Issa Rae, how she was awkward, an awkward black girl, which transitioned into Insecure. And if you're not an awkward black girl, whatever awkward, put your nationality, your race, your ethnicity into that slot. It's about being that awkward one, or not knowing which way to flow with the ocean because you don't want to look weird, odd, sound like you don't know what you're talking about. You don't want to be the one who has curly hair. Everyone has straight hair, or brown. Everyone is light, or light, and everyone's brown, or heavy when everybody's skin. So you try to assimilate and be all of these things, thinking that those are the right things to be and the right way to act and to understand. You don't know how to even be you anymore. And I'm seeing that often, especially when we deal with social media. People are going with whatever works. If they're a certain type of person, say for instance, their morals and values are on super high and they don't want to do this, they don't want to compromise this, they want to be who they are, right? And then they see that that's not getting likes, or that's not selling products, or that's not getting comments in the comment section. So now they transform themselves to be like the person that they see as they scroll that are getting all the likes. And so now they have morphed into a different person. Values are lax, morals are lax, they're just being someone else. Now, if you're free that way and already, and you're being 100% who you are, and if it's clothes or no clothes, if it's this outfit or not outfit, or if it's your hair's like this or that, or you're free with your speech and your vocabulary, and that's who you are, doggone it, be that. But if that's not who you are, and you think because that person that has a voice or has a face or has whatever you think is hot, cool, dope, then that's what you be. And then you're not even being who you are, which is just as dope. Just because it doesn't look the same, act the same, talk the same, walk the same, it doesn't mean that you're not as equally dope. But I think people take away from who they are because it doesn't seem hot at the time, or it's not selling in any room that they enter. They try to be someone else. And then that always is an issue or a problem. And then that creates so much anxiety for people trying to keep up this fake facade of who they pretended to be. So I just want to read, I was looking, Psychology Today, that's one of my favorites. And it says, what does it mean being yourself? And this is how they define it. And of course, I define it the same way, and so do you probably, it means be true to your core, identify rather than faking a different one because you think it's attractive to others. Just like I was, just talking about a little while ago. As I'm talking to you all, I see comments coming in under my Facebook, Kendell Lenice, all social media platforms. But I put up something today about being yourself. It's like I'm around, and I said, this is what I said about me. I am me around any and everybody. I don't know how to be anyone else. Then I posed the question, what is beautiful about you? You know, people are saying their smile, their personality, their heart, and people are commenting. And I always like to provoke things like that, because if you compare yourself to so many other people, then you forget what's beautiful about you. Or maybe you weren't even told what was beautiful about you. And then that creates something totally, totally different. And I think it's important to just really understand what you like. In my first book, my first empowerment book, self-empowerment book, I should say, I asked the question of, who were you before someone told you who you were? Now, what I mean by that is, think about as you're raised. If your parent, let's say, cooks spaghetti, or if they always have grape juice or cranberry juice, or whatever the pattern is when you're growing up. If you wore your hair a certain way or got a certain haircut because maybe your parent told you to, or that's what you saw within your house. So it's almost like as you're growing up, parents or grandparents, whoever raised you, are teaching you how to be you. They're telling you the things that you like. They're telling you that the music that you like to listen to, because that's what's playing. You might be watching a television show with your parent or your siblings, and you're like, oh, okay, I like this. And it's almost like indirectly kind of guiding you and telling you who you are. Then you grow up and be like, wait a minute, I don't even like spaghetti. I don't even like red sauce. I don't like comedies. I like drama. I don't even like grape juice. This is, you start to begin and think like, okay, this is not even me. Let me explore the things that I love. Let me see what I like. And then I can start from there. And it's no diss to anyone who's raising you. That's what happens. You are accustomed to what happens in your home and you assimilate. Then you go to maybe elementary school, and then people are liking whatever toy is out or whatever game is out or whatever fashion is out. And then you start being that because it looks cool. You want to do that. I remember back in the day when I was growing up, Lee jeans in South Jersey were everything. In Jersey, New York, remember Run DMC was wearing them. Everybody was wearing Lee jeans. And back where I grew up, we would sew in the creases, and I would sew in people's creases by hand. Y'all would get the needle and thread, and I would sew in these creases, and then people would get their names on their pants or button. I remember, shout out to my friend Tamia, she would get her name on her butt, and then we would have the jackets, the Lee jackets to match and everything, and then everybody would have the different color Lee jeans, and that's what was hot. And I remember I wanted Lee jeans in every color. I wanted the jacket. My mom was like, you are not a boy. You can't be, back then. I was like, but I want them. So I remember I had a turquoise pair, and I had, I think, like a burgundy pair and different ones. But I was like, and then with the jackets. So then you think about, if you don't even know your style or know your vibe, but you think that's the latest and the greatest and it's hot with the name belt, and you rocking this, Adidas and all of that, because that's what you see and that's a trend. So then you start rocking because that's a trend, that's the hottest, that's the latest, and you don't really understand sometimes if that's even your style, or it doesn't even matter if that's your style. It's hot. It's the latest. It's a fad. You want to be down. You got the Coca-Cola back then. It was the Coca-Cola sweatshirts like Heavy D wore in some of his videos. And you got the hairstyles like Salt and Pepper, MC Light. I mean, I had that. That's just what it was. It was hot, I wasn't allowed to wear the big bamboo earrings with my name in them. So now, as through the years, as I gotten older, I got so many earrings with my name in it, so many different things with my name, because back then you weren't finding Kendell anywhere, or that was, you know, what was hot, and that's what you were doing. And then you kind of develop your own style. You know, some people do. Some people stay with the trends for forever. If it's hot, it's popular, that's what they're rocking, that's what they're wearing. But then you start to develop your own style. You know, I like rocker chic. I like a little edge, and then I like a little softness. I like it combined, right? That's just my thing. That's my style. I love that. Like where you can rock a t-shirt and some leather pants, and then you can have a blazer, or you can have a nice frilly shirt with a t-shirt with a, you know, or you can have leather mixed with satin or lace, or you can have soft cottons or linens. Like you, it's just whatever your vibe is, whatever your personality is, how you rock your hair, ladies or fellas, how you get it cut, or the style that you have, if it's shoes or watches, and you start to develop this sense of you and who you are, whether it's a bold red lip, or if it's a bold shirt, or if it's a bold, you know, you can kind of balance and you decide what you like. If it's suedes mixed with satins, or polka dots mixed with plaids, or you start to develop and you start to become you and start to wear what you like, whether it's a hat, a cap, a scarf, a head wrap. You know, it starts to be you. I like that bohemian chic. I like rocker chic. It depends on how I feel. I'll get up and express myself how I feel. If I want to wear heels, or if I want to wear sneakers, if I want to wear boots or Uggs or shoe, it just all depends on how I feel or how you feel, because it's about enveloping and exuding who you are on any given day. And that might look totally different every day, depending on how comfortable and how that you are in your skin and being who you are. But it takes a level of knowing who you are and understanding who you are to even get to that point. Sometimes it comes with age and maturity. And sometimes you can see little kids like, I'm doing this, I'm doing me, I'm wearing what I want, I'm saying what I want, I'm being who I want. And my mom always says that I came out being who I am, having a voice, being independent, sticking up for the underdog, saying what I mean what I say, not biting my tongue, being honest and positive. And, you know, and that doesn't mean I don't have flaws, but I've been very clear on who I was and who I am. But it has wavered sometimes, like, should I say this? You know, we were taught, I'm just going to keep it real. We were taught like there's a white voice and a black voice, and you can't say, hey girl, how you doing? You can't say that to a white person or someone who is not black or of color, because then it's like they'll think you're ignorant, or they think you can't talk, or they think. So in my day, it was all of these different dynamics. Like, you can't be that. Make sure you talk proper when you're around certain people. And it's like, why? Who cares what somebody else thinks? And growing up, you have to fall into that. Like, you're taught to do that in a lot of cases, in a lot of age brackets. I think it's a little freer, and millennial Generation X, they're coming out being exactly who they are unapologetically. And I think in my generation, sometimes they suppressed that because it's like you have to be in this way. And I was defined in a lot of ways, like just being who I was. Like, if I felt like asking a question, then I'm going to ask it. Or if I felt like raising my hand to answer the question, I was me. And then you'll have people saying, that's too much, or you're not enough. Or, you know, with some people, it's be like, you're doing too much. Or then some people like, you're doing not enough, or you're doing. So you have all these people like, well, how the heck am I supposed to be? If I can't do this by being me, if I have to suppress this and be quiet and not laugh right here, or feel free to do a cartwheel because somebody might think something is, you know, you can't be this way and it's suppressive. No, I'm doing a cartwheel right here in the park in front of everybody. I'm going to pull out my camera, do a video right here. Or, back in the day, I'm going to say something. I'm going to laugh loud because I want to laugh loud and I want to be me. Yeah, I don't care if every, hair was smoothed down, every eyebrow hair was smoothed down, or you know what I mean? Like there's the perfection of it all where people try to just be perfect, and nobody on this earth is perfect, but so many people were afraid to be who they were and who they are. And I'm glad I'm not in that bondage anymore, because I've always been me. And now I really feel free to be me. I don't care who's around. I don't care if I just met them. I'm not going to suppress who I am for anyone. And none of you should. That's the point of this episode. The freedom to be yourself, taking off the mask. Stop being who people told you to be or what's hot on social media and what you think that you have to do. So you know what I mean? No. We ain't doing that. I do not want that for y'all. I want you free. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come right back. Thank you for shining with me, Kendell Lenice. If you're here for the very first time, thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to the show and don't forget to tell your friends and family about Shine. We'll be right back. All right, I am back. Like, I don't want that for you. I see so many people and so many cookie cutters. I'm like, who is real? Like, who is themselves and who's not? Who's doing this for a like, a cheer, a comment? Like, who are you? Like, are you dressing this way because you love to dress this way or because someone told you should dress this way? Like, if you're going to go here, these are the kind of clothes you need to wear. You need to wear a button-down shirt. You need to do this. Like, who said that? Be who you are. Now, I know, my generation and older might say, no, there are certain ways you're supposed to dress here. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to be this. No, be how you are. Now, if you're going somewhere and it calls for that and, there's a dress code, don't just come in there being how you are. I'm not saying that. But even if they say you got to wear a suit or you got to wear a dress, you can still tailor it to your style. It doesn't have to be, you can style it with your hair or your accessories or your shoes or you can still make it your own and don't have to be who someone says you are and not being okay with you. So there's so many different ways that you can be yourself, it's just really even knowing how. And I was looking at something, Tony Robbins, the speaker, and he had something like how to be yourself. And it was 10 ways. I'm going to read some of these. It's like, know yourself is number one. Our beliefs about who we are go all the way back to childhood. I totally agree. Just like I was saying, we were born as sponges and we soak up our environment without even realizing. So know yourself. I love to see other people's perspective, to see what we have in common and what's different. Number 2 is let go of the negative self-talk. Limiting beliefs manifest as negative self-talk. Listen to yourself, your inner monologue. You may tell yourself things like, I've always been this way, or I'm just not good at this. Perhaps you tell yourself that you need to be perfect to be worthy of love. No, y'all don't need to be perfect. You need to be exactly you. Wouldn't you, and I'll get back to this list in a minute, but wouldn't you rather someone love you, appreciate you, admire you, celebrate you for being exactly who you are? That way you know that they see and they love you for who you are, opposed to pretending to be someone that you aren't and they're loving the fake you. So how would you even know if they really love who you are? And if you're wearing the mask trying to pretend to be who you are, then that's the first thing that needs to be worked on. You taking off your mask and you discovering what you like or what you don't like in who you really are. No matter at any age, if you haven't gotten to that point, that is the very first step. All right. So number 3 on this list is focus on your strengths. Your negative traits are not who you are. Replace negative self-talk with positive thoughts that empower you to be yourself. When you focus on your strengths, you build yourself up instead of tearing yourself down. Not sure what your strengths are? Think about the times in your life when you felt the most in your element. You felt that you were being yourself. Think about those times, and that's when you can really kind of figure out what your strengths are. All right, number 4 on this list is stop living in the past. Your past does not equal your future. Everyone has mistakes. They don't have to define who you are, and you need to spend your life trying to figure who you are and letting go of the guilt. Number 5 is stop caring about what other people think. That's on this list. That's on every single list I have, mine included. For many of us, it says not caring what others think is easier said than done. Yes, it is for some. It's human nature to want to fit in, but our fear of what other people think only holds us back. So true. Remember that what people think of you is actually a reflection on them, not you. You can't control other people's opinions. All you can do is learn how to be yourself. And be happy with that. Number 6 on Tony Robbins' list is be open to change. The human brain is complex. We are all a product of hundreds of experiences and pieces of information that our brains process every day. The brain is always learning and changing, so how can we expect to stay the same? So true. Number 7 is be vulnerable. It's easy to show off the good parts of ourselves, but to be yourself, you have to be your whole self. That means being willing to be vulnerable. If you are wondering, how can I be myself? The answer is to step into your pain and face your fears head on. Be open and honest with your partner and your friends. Tell them how you feel. Share your deepest fears. You might be surprised how it strengthens your relationship. Number 8 on this list is express yourself. Express yourself, and in doing that, you can determine what you enjoy. How you express yourself affects how you begin to see yourself. Keep a journal. Record what you did well each day and what you enjoyed, as well as things you have or you could have done better, I should say. Express yourself through art, writing, music, or even gardening. That's if you like those things, because that's his list. I get it. I understand that. But express yourself how you express yourself. Because to me, if you express yourself in the way that comes natural, you'll also find your gifts and you'll also find your joy. What do you do? What do you like to do that's easy for you? Not someone that told you go to school to be a lawyer because you like to debate or because you like to talk. You could be a journalist and not a lawyer because you like to debate and talk. You could be on a show making millions of dollars because you like to do that. Or if you like to write, you might not want to be a novelist. You might not want to do that. You might want to write for TV. What brings you joy? Like, you have to learn how to be yourself. Number 9 on this list is to get out of your comfort zone. And number 10 on this list is to find your community. You've done the internal work. Now it's time to seek support and acceptance for the new you. It says, when you surround yourself with the right people, they'll elevate your best traits and build you up instead of holding you back. You'll finally feel like you can stop searching for how to be yourself because you're in a place where everyone already knows who you are and loves you for it. I love that, because you need to be around people, including yourself, to nurture yourself and the things that you love. because that's where the happiness is, when you can authentically be who you are. There's so many benefits to being who you are. Yes, we talked about in the beginning, be yourself, everyone else is taken. That right there is a powerful life note in itself, but it makes you less stressed and it helps you produce more of whatever you want to produce, whether it's work, whether it's producing more laughter, whether it's producing more joy in your life. And it also makes your life easier when you're not pretending to be someone. You know what I mean? There's so many benefits to being you, and you have to own who you are, the good parts, the bad parts, because being you may not be all roses. You might not want to smile on your face all the time a day. You might want to be sad for a moment, or you might just have an indifferent view of, or you know what I mean? You don't want to feel like you have to be on all the time if that's not who you are, or off all the time if that's not who you are. And I think people are much happier when they can be who they want to be, and when they begin to love themselves from their crown to their feet. I think it's so important for you to just be who you want to be and set your own path of self-love, because we talk about, even as life coaches, how to be yourself, how to live your best life, how to be authentically you. And people are like, well, what does that mean? I woke up and someone told me what to eat. Someone told me where to work, what to do. And there's so many people out here that are miserable and unhappy and don't even know how to be their own selves. Somebody right now is listening and like, I don't even know if I'm being me, if this is really me. So a couple of signs is like, if you care about what people think, like when somebody comes in a room, you act different, or you tighten up, or you shy up and you don't know, then that might be a sign that you're really not being true to who you are. Or if you're exhausted or sad all the time, or, resentful if you see other people being them, because so many people are not them. When they see someone else being free and they're not in bondage and they've taken off the mask, then you hear people, they not all that. Well, how God bless them, or I've been doing that, or I was told not to wear my hair like that, act like that, talk like that, do that, but they're getting the likes, they're getting the accolades. Why are they doing that? And so many people be hating on people who are being true to themselves. Like, you think about the people that came out, like Macy Gray. When Macy Gray came out, her hair was, sticking up, or Maxwell everybody was like, I think Maxwell got less judgment than Macy Gray. Like, why is she doing that? What's she wearing her hair like that? She need a perm. She need to braid that stuff down. She need to comb that down. Why is she doing that? Maxwell need to get a haircut. That's not clean cut. What is that? No, they came out being who they wanted to be. And we learned to love them. We can go through Grace Jones. We can go through, Ari Lennox with her cute little puffs. I love Ari Lennox. Let's shout out to Ari Lennox. She was just on the one of the last episodes of R&B Money Podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts. Tank and Jay Valentine. Shout out to y'all. But she came out with her natural hair. She talked about her 4C hair and being moisturized and natural, and or 4B, 4C. I see all that stuff, man. And I love the fact that she came out even on the scene being her, where so many people are wearing weaves or are wearing straight hair, or, they're not being who they want to be. That industry has a way of making you who they think you should be to sell units, to make money, to get fans, to get likes. And so many people in that industry are not who they are. And I love the fact, and I don't know if they just allow her to be her, or if she said, you know what, I don't want to wear that. But then if she does want to wear it on her terms, where I've seen her wear weave, or it seems like it's her terms. Like she's not a slave to what people say. I mean, I can name so many people who really walk in the truth. Think about Cree Summer when she was on A Different World Even After. Think about, you think about a lot of different people. It's so many to think about where they were ostracized because they didn't follow the norms or they didn't dress like the norm. A lot of people were ahead of the game in being themselves, and a lot of us just caught up. We're like, you know what? It's okay to care about what someone thinks, but don't allow it to affect you. Don't start speaking differently, or don't start being like, I'm just so thankful and grateful that at this point, in my life, I really, I will listen to someone's thoughts and opinions, but ultimately I'm going to be me and do what I want to do. If I want to laugh with my whole mouth hanging open, and it's freedom to me, and it looks like freedom if I'm dancing with nobody, with everybody, or nobody is watching. Like, I will be me. I will dance around the house, whether I'm by myself, whether it's around people. I'll be singing in the car. I will just be, having a conversation with me. I will not compromise who I am. I don't care what people say if it's not me. And I love that. There's so much freedom in that. And I look at so many people who are really themselves. Let's talk for a moment about Tabitha Brown. I just spoke at a conference, and I used this analogy, and it just came up right then. Didn't write it down. I was talking about being yourself and staying true to who you are. And a lot of people don't stay true to who they are, and they don't get far in life being somebody else or trying to be a copycat. And a lot of people do it. It's just a natural thing. If you see something working for someone else, then you may try. So with Tabitha Brown, I remember a couple of years ago when I used to mention Tabitha Brown's name. No one knew who she was. I would have to be like, she has an afro, she's a vegan, she makes vegan recipes, she has a sweet Southern accent. They would be like, who is that? And now you say Tabitha Brown's name, she's even nominated for an Emmy. Like, everybody knows who Tabitha Brown is. She is completely 100% who she is herself. But as Tabitha Brown tells her own story, she wasn't always like that. She came from North Carolina to LA to become an actress, comedic actress. She had several auditions. She wasn't booking anything. People were telling her to straighten her hair, to lose weight. She said she was obsessed with weight, trying to be super skinny, trying to have straight hair, a weave. They told her definitely cover that Southern accent. You have to speak this way. You have to walk this way. Why don't you? Somebody told her to try stand-up comedy. She went to do that. Someone said to try to be in a commercial, in a TV. She did that. She said she was flip-flopping around, trying to be all of these things, and her career was standstill. For 20 years, she was unsuccessful at the things that she wanted to be successful in. She wanted to be a big movie star, television star. She wanted to be famous. She knew that God had that over her life, that she was going to make it big. But it took her 20 years. It wasn't until she started being 100% herself, saying, I'm not straightening Donna, that's her hair for those that don't know. I am wearing my afro. I am wearing my bohemian Afrocentric looks. I am going to talk about God. When I say looks, I mean clothes. Talk about God. I am not going to speak the way that they want me to speak. I'm going to, hello there, with my accent, my Southern accent, I'm going to be me wherever I go. The moment that she started being 100% who she was, who God called her to be, who she was innately, Tabitha, who she innately was before Hollywood told her to try to assimilate and be someone else, that's when her world started opening up. When she sat in that car, she put her camera on, did her first video, and she spoke exactly how she spoke. When she started being who she was, talking about God, wearing her afro, being her, that's when she started being uberly successful. Now that girl got money, stacks on stacks on stacks. She has freedom. She has joy. She has peace. She has celebrity. She has fame. She has all the things that she wanted, still being humble and being who she was and who God told her she was, and uplifting him, because they say, don't talk about God. Don't do this. Don't do that. And she was doing all of these things. The moment she started being herself is the moment that her career skyrocketed and continues to do so. Got a line, 2 different lines at Target. She has clothing, and then I believe it's houseware. She has several shows. She has a cookbook, Seasonings with McCormick. She has, I can't even name all the stuff that a lot of stuff even in the works now. She's soaring by being exactly who she is. It's so important to really be who you are and allow you to love yourself and allow people to love you for being who you are, opposed to trying to pretend to be someone else and you're miserable, you're unhappy, you're flip-floppy, you feel like you don't know if you're coming or going, leaving or coming because you're confused. I say just take a moment to think about who you are. What do you like? Who do you want to be? Think about that and start being more of that. And I guarantee you, you will find your peace, you will find your tranquility, and you will find your joy. Stop worrying so much about what other people think of you and think more of yourself. God made you exactly who you are. Now walk in your purpose, strut in that. Do the walk. Show your walk and show who you really are. And keep working on that. That's when you will find your ultimate joy and eventually the ultimate you. The freedom of being you is priceless. Get out of the bondage, take off your mask, and be you. All right, y'all. Let's see. What is the wow moment? What is the takeaway? What is your takeaway? Tell me what your takeaway is, and I'll tell you mine. This week's wow moment. Takeaways from today's show. My wow moment from today's show is the freedom and the less stress and exhaustedness, if that's a word, of trying to be someone else when you can really just be you. Just wake up and be you. That's less stressful. Why put more stress on yourself pretending to be someone that you're not? So that's my wow moment. That's my takeaway. Just wake up every day being you. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to this episode in season 8, yes, of Shine with Kendell Lenice. Thank y'all. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at Kendell Lenice, and also go on over to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Again, thank you so much for your support. God bless y'all. Peace. Remember, you are a star. Don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Bye, y'all.
Shine with Kendell Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.